what is a consulting attorney? Because I think that was a new term for me
Hmm.
when I got divorced. Thank goodness someone mentioned it to me, or otherwise I never would have known what it was. So, what is a consulting attorney and their role in mediation? And what is a CDFA as it relates to you working with a couple?
Yeah. So a consulting attorney is different than a retained attorney. A retained attorney, you sign away your life. They can plan the strategy and go to court. And attorneys somewhat jokingly say, yeah, the practice of law would be great if it wasn't just for the clients. So they like this idea of going to court, arguing, and the clients kind of get in the way, and they want to kind of direct the strategy, and they don't know best. And so a consulting attorney doesn't do that. They're a consultant, and you oftentimes will pay for them per hour,
Hmm.
and you get advice from them, and they provide feedback, let you know about the law. Jade's situation of, he was what I called outside the box of a normal approach. They would let him know, hey, if you want to do this, great, but you need to understand you're maybe giving something up, or you might have tax consequences you aren't thinking about, or something like that.
Is a consulting attorney part of the mediation meetings?
They're generally not part of the mediation meetings with my clientele, largely because of cost. You'd be paying for them sitting there. What I
Hmm.
do is I have a list of consulting attorneys I give to every prospective client at the complimentary consultations that I do, because I don't want to be the gatekeeper. I want people to know, hey, these people are part of the process. You can contact them anytime you want. Another one of the underpinnings of mediation is client empowerment. So that's client empowerment. I'm not going to say when you talk to an attorney, you decide when you talk to an attorney. And then they can go to them and get Family Law 101, an hour or two of just what they need to know. Or they can go whenever we get to an impasse on a particular issue and find out, okay, what do I need to know? What are my, what would this look like if I went to court? And then
Hmm.
what I really push for is before the final signature of the judgment, I really want them to have that judgment, which is what we'll be submitting to the court on each party's, behalf. I want them to have a comprehensive review of that, and that way the attorney can say, "Hey, let's tweak this language here," or
Hmm.
"Holy moly, you guys are way outside the box over here,"
Hmm.
and you just need to know.
Okay.
I The more longer I go in my career, the more I do what I call inoculating my clients for their attorneys, which is I want them to know, hey, your attorney's going to say you're way outside the box here, or your attorney's going to have a real concern about you giving this up. And that way, number one, they're not surprised when they go to an attorney. And number two, they can decide in advance, hey, do I really want to be this creative? Do I really want to give this much before they get to the attorney? So that's another thing that comes along with experience.
Okay. And then CDFA, how do you work with those?
Broad variety of ways. It really depends on the situation.
Hmm.
I like to have, the CDFAs, as the two of you know, have a lot of more complicated financial planning and analysis software that I don't utilize. And so I think if we're looking at a multi-year situation, not even multi-year, decade plus of spousal support or something like that, what does it look like? What does the income look like with the support? What happens whenever child support ends, whenever the youngest child turns 18? What are the tax consequences? How does inflation play in? And I don't have that kind of complex modeling software. And if I've got a really nervous stay-at-home parent who's about to re-enter the workforce, maybe is trying to keep the home, that kind of thing, they need to see in black and white when they're in the black, when they're in the red,
Mm.
how long are they going to be eating ramen and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches if they keep the house, that kind of thing.
Got it. Thank you.
So, Barry, next one is,
We've touched upon it a little bit, but just to
yeah.
go back to
So,
it.
what should an individual or a couple be looking for when, or I guess asking when meeting with a potential mediator?
Mediators, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, first of all, do they offer a complimentary consultation? If they don't,
Hmm.
honestly, just move on to the next one.
Hmm.
But because a lot of it is how comfortable are you with them? I offer a 30 to 45-minute consultation where I walk all potential clients through the process.
Hmm.
Again, back to this idea of informed decision making. I want them to get that idea before they even decide whether they're going to work with me. And that knowing that they get information, they get to digest it, think about it, look at options before they decide. And I think that's important when you're deciding upon a mediator, to guide you through this process.
Mhm.
Like we said again and again, experience. There are a lot of people that are entering mediation over the last 5 years that I'm sure will be great mediators in 5 or 10 years from now. But it involves a lot of experience. So if you have a complicated estate, you need somebody that knows what they're doing. So the last
Mhm.
thing I'd say is if you're going with an attorney mediator, find out how much of their practice is mediation versus litigation. It's mediation's become the sexy new thing. Everybody mediates. And, if they do this 10 or 20% of their practice, then the other 80% is going fighting it out in court. I think they're going to have a certain bias and a certain approach that may not be very conducive to good mediation.